Hello, welcome to another episode of Black Men's Digest TV. I'm your host, J. Anthony Smith. So today's episode, we're going to talk about life insurance. You know, the important aspects of being able to protect your family and your possessions from any type of catastrophic situations. Our guest today is Marcus Robin, who's an agency principal at AFIG Insurance. So we're going to talk about the important misconceptions and plus the reasons for why men should go out and have their own life insurance. So after this quick break, we'll be back to talk with Marcus Robin and talk about life insurance. Welcome back. In today's episode of Black Men's Digest, we're going to talk about, resources and situations where we can, as black men, protect our inheritance, our children's children. In Proverbs it says that a man should lay up a treasure so that his children's children will be taken care of. So our topic today is going to talk about life insurance. More specifically, how to protect what you've worked hard for so that your family can be taken care of long after you're gone. Today we have as our guest Marcus Robin. He's the agency principal at AFIG Insurance. And we're going to pull from his many years of experience to kind of dispel a lot of the different myths and misconceptions that black men have about life insurance and really talk about some of the positive things that it can do. So thank you for, taking time out to deal with us today, Marcus. How you doing?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great. So let's get right into it. So what are some of the three biggest misconceptions that you have experienced as it relates to men and life insurance?
In my experience, most men think it costs too much. Secondly, they don't need it. And thirdly, they have it on their job.
That's very important. In today's society, especially with Obamacare, where they've talked about, health insurance and things like that, how it's kind of the forefront. But as black men, that should be on the forefront of our minds as well. How do we take care of ourselves? How do we take care of our children? Because we're all going to die someday. The old adage is that you've never seen, a Brinks truck following a hearse. So it's about being proactive and keeping your family in mind. So let's talk about, you mentioned about, one of the misconceptions is that, it costs too much. So tell me, as far as your experience, is life insurance really costly?
Surprisingly, you can afford probably a policy for less than $1 a day. That's a cup of coffee in most cases. The average probably policy is $30 to $45 a month for a term life policy. And term life is adequate coverage for most people. For permanent coverage, it's a little bit more costly monthly wise for as premiums is concerned, but it's affordable as well, and it can be custom tailored to your need based on your specific needs.
Gotcha. I know something I was thinking about, in the black community, we have this stigma about life insurance, but we've all heard those horror stories. Grandpa JoJo or, Uncle Tony passed away and they didn't have life insurance, so the family had to literally, pass a hat around just to help bury them. So when you hear stories about that being in the industry, what does that cause in your mind?
Well, it concerns me because I think if we just take some planning, just make some planning, and basically just take the time to get the insurance when we can afford it and get it while we're young, not only while we're young, but while we're healthy as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a good information as well. I know you also mentioned one of the misconceptions is that, you have insurance on your job. Is insurance on your job enough to take care of you and your family?
Employer paid policy is a great policy to have. However, if you lose your job due to a layoff, if you're fired from your job, you quit your job, or if you retire, in most cases it's not portable. So when your job goes, your insurance goes.
Okay. So would you say it's best to have well, let me ask this. Is there such a thing as being overinsured?
No, not really. There's not such a thing as being overinsured. I don't think anyone can have too much life insurance. The more life insurance I think you have, the better that you leave your family and your loved ones that you leave behind, the better position you leave them in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's definitely some important information. There's no such thing as being overinsured. So it's definitely vital that we as black men take that initiative to start planning for when we're not going to be here. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few moments, and we're going to talk a little bit more with Marcus as it relates to, we're going to talk about how you can plan better for your future. So after these brief messages, we'll be right back. We all have our share of bad breaks. When you come across that time, it's good to know that there is someone around to help you through it. That's why you should choose AFIG Insurance Services. With a professional staff ready to work with you, AFIG is not your typical agency. We treat everyone as family. So why not trust us to help you protect what you've worked hard for?
Here at AFIG Insurance Services, we provide a family atmosphere. We take great pride in service. We're a full-line agency, independent agents. We specialize in auto, home, life, health, and business insurance. We're your one-stop shop for all your insurance needs. Come see us.
For an immediate quote, go to goafig.com or call 469-461-3381. Welcome back. We've been talking with Marcus Robin, Agency Principal at AFIG Insurance, to talk about the issues of life insurance and the common misconceptions. So we've already discussed that some of the three major misconceptions is, as it relates to life insurance, is 1, I don't need it; 2, it costs too much; and 3, I already have it on my job. So now we're going to talk about the reasons why you should get insurance. So Marcus, tell me, what are some reasons why someone would purchase life insurance?
I would say the three primary reasons someone should purchase life insurance is for final expenses, secondly, income replacement, and the most important, asset protection.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So, you mentioned, one of the first reasons why is, to as far as income replacement. So let's talk about that. What type of, why should, as it relates to insurance, how is that going to help me as far as my income?
Well, if you're no longer here and can't work, your family, your spouse, will lose that income, and at the same time, they will lose that quality of life that they've become accustomed to living. The neighborhood, the community they live in, the cars they drive, the lifestyle that they live.
Oh, that definitely makes sense. If we're in a a $300,000 house and I pass away and I don't have any insurance, then who's there to take care of the mortgage and those other bills? Okay, so that definitely makes some sense. So let's talk about the funeral or funeral expenses. Let's talk about that. Why is that important?
That's very important. When someone passes away, the last thing you want to think about is how we're going to pay the cost of a funeral. In today's time, funeral costs can be very expensive. Over the years, they've skyrocketed, and final expenses could be a number of things. It could be not only just funeral costs, it could be medical bills. It could be care for your family after the funeral. So it could be a lot of different things, final expenses.
Gotcha. So let's say, for example, so if I have a $100,000 policy and I pass away, and the funeral expenses are $80,000, then that only leaves my family with $20,000 to live on. Is that is that really feasible?
No, that's not really feasible. Everyone has different needs, and we can custom tailor a policy to your needs, your specific needs. You may have young children, you may have a young family, you may need to consider college fund, college expenses. Also, if you have a mortgage, like you stated earlier, you may want to protect your mortgage and pay the mortgage off, and also the income replacement.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so now let's talk about the third area where you said it is asset protection. So what does that mean by having asset protection?
Basically, asset protection protects your assets, whether it be your property, your mortgage, your home, your business. It could be your cars. It also can be any other type of asset that you may have that needs to be protected, because you don't want to lose that. If you leave here and go away, you don't have the income to continue payments, and you want to protect that. And you don't want your loved ones to lose it after you're gone.
So you mean to tell me if I have a business, I'm an entrepreneur, I can actually have insurance coverage that if I die, my business can still operate while I'm gone?
Sure, absolutely. You can have buy-sell agreement. You can also have key man insurance. If something should happen to you and you're no longer there to operate or run the business can continue to go on, because if you're not there, the business would need revenue, and you can have a life insurance policy to cover that need as well.
Oh wow, that's definitely some great information. So all of you brothers that are out there that are running your own businesses, not only you can actually have a policy that can help keep that business running, should you unexpectedly pass away. So it's definitely a great opportunity to protect those things that you worked hard for. Now let's go back to, we were talking about funeral expenses. And you also mentioned how high funeral expenses have gone in recent time. So are there additional options outside of just having a life insurance policy that can help cover those funeral expenses without dipping into that life insurance money?
Sure, absolutely. You can go with a pre-need arrangement. And with a pre-need arrangement, basically you're freezing, if you will, or locking in the cost of a funeral in today's dollars versus, let's say, 10, 15 years from now, when it would be, I'm sure, a lot higher at that time. And it would be at need versus pre-need.
Wow, okay. So not only can you get a life insurance policy, you can also have a pre-need policy as well that can cover the funeral expenses without actually having to take away from that life insurance that could be used for, as you mentioned, like college education, paying mortgage, or income replacement. So again, brothers, this is information that you can find out about, in your local community that can help you be better prepared to protect not only yourself, but those that come after you. Well, Marcus, I just want to thank you again for your time and your insight that you've given to us and to our viewers out there that can help them educate more about how to protect themselves. So how can we find you as far as out there as it relates to getting your information and you helping us?
We can be contacted on our website, which is goafig.com, or we can be contacted directly here at our office. 469-461-3381 is our office number, or we can be reached on our Facebook page, AFIG Insurance Services.
Great, great. So those are the areas where you can find Marcus if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area and you're looking for a great great information and someone that can support you and your family prior to your times of need and even after that as well, so that you can better prepare for your future. So that's today's episode of Black Men's Digest TV. Again, we thank Marcus Robin for his time. So stay tuned for next week when we'll have another great episode for Black Men to Black Men. So we'll see you next week.